There was a day when nothing outside of me changed, but everything inside of me did. Not because life became easier, but because my way of thinking became stronger. In one day, I learned principles that did not promise comfort, success, or happiness. They promised clarity, and clarity changes everything. The first principle is this: not everything is in your control. The moment you accept this, your anger begins to weaken. You stop fighting reality. You stop demanding life to obey you. You focus only on what is truly yours: your thoughts, your choices, your actions. Most of the pain people experience does not come from events themselves, but from trying to control what was never theirs to command. The moment you clearly separate what belongs to you from what does not, your mind begins to steady. Your actions, your thoughts, your choices, and your effort are within your control. Everything else exists outside your authority. Whether other people's behavior, outcomes, opinions, luck, timing, and circumstances do not ask for your permission before changing. When you place your energy on what you cannot control, frustration grows, anger feels justified, anxiety feels endless. You replay conversations, imagine different outcomes, and fight reality in your mind. This inner resistance drains strength and weakens judgment. Accepting what you cannot control is not weakness. It is discipline. It is choosing not to waste your limited energy on battles you cannot win. Control begins internally. You may not control the words someone speaks, but you control how you hear them. You may not control loss, but you control how you carry it. You may not control delays, rejection, or failure, but you control whether you respond with dignity or collapse into resentment. Each moment offers a choice between reaction and response. Reaction is automatic. Response is trained. Our accepting what you cannot control does not mean doing nothing. It means acting where action is possible and releasing attachment where it is not. You still plan. You still work. You still prepare. But you stop demanding that life obey your expectations. When outcomes differ from your plans, you adjust without bitterness. You move forward without self-pity. Many people confuse acceptance with surrender. Acceptance is not giving up. It is seeing clearly. It is understanding that the world operates according to its own laws, not your desires. Once you accept this, you stop taking events personally. Insults lose power. Delays feel lighter. Disappointments become lessons instead of wounds. Control your actions means acting with intention. You choose honesty even when lying is easier. You choose patience when anger offers quick relief. You choose effort even when motivation is absent. These choices shape your character. Character is the only possession no one can take from you. When you protect it, you protect your peace. The mind resists acceptance because it wants certainty. It wants guarantees. But certainty is an illusion. When you stop chasing certainty, you gain resilience. You become adaptable. You stop breaking under pressure because you no longer expect life to be smooth. Every day presents challenges designed to test your discipline. Traffic delays test patience. Criticism tests ego. Injustice tests integrity. Loss tests perspective. Each test asks the same question: will you focus on what you can control, or will you hand your peace to circumstances beyond you? When you accept what you cannot control, fear loses its grip. Fear survives on imagined futures and uncontrollable outcomes. By anchoring yourself in your actions, fear has nowhere to grow. You return to the present, where strength exists. This principle simplifies life. Decisions become clearer. Stress reduces. You stop blaming others. You stop blaming fate. responsibility returns to where it belongs, not for outcomes, but for effort and intention. A person who controls their actions and accepts what they cannot control becomes difficult to disturb. Praise does not inflate them. Criticism does not crush them. Success does not make them careless. Failure does not make them bitter. Their stability comes from within, are not from circumstances outside their reach. Most mistakes are not made because of lack of intelligence, but because of speed. Life pushes events in front of you, and the mind rushes to respond before understanding what is happening. Words escape the mouth. Actions happen without thought. Emotions take control and decide for you. In that moment, you are no longer guiding your life. You are being pulled by impulse. The space between what happens and how you respond is small, but powerful. In that space lies your freedom. When you pause, even briefly, you interrupt the automatic patterns that have ruled you for years. A pause creates distance between you and the emotion rising inside. Anger begins to cool. Fear begins to lose urgency. Desire begins to soften. Reacting immediately feels natural because the body wants release. Anger wants to be expressed. Fear wants to escape. Pride wants to defend itself. But what feels natural is often what causes the most damage. Words spoken in heat cannot be retrieved. Our actions taken in haste often demand apologies later. The pause protects you from becoming your own enemy. A pausing does not mean suppressing emotion. It means observing it without obeying it. You notice the tightening in the chest, the quickening breath, the urge to respond. You allow it to exist without letting it steer your behavior. This moment of awareness shifts control back into your hands. Silence is a form of strength. When others expect reaction and receive calm, their power fades. Provocation feeds on response. Without it, conflict starves. You are not avoiding the situation. You are choosing the timing and manner of your response. The habit of pausing must be trained. At first, the mind forgets. The emotion takes over. But with practice, awareness grows faster. You catch yourself sooner. What once controlled you for hours controls you for minutes, then seconds. Eventually, the emotion appears but no longer dominates. A pause allows reason to enter. It asks simple questions. Is this worth my energy? Will this matter tomorrow? Does this response reflect the person I want to become? These questions cut through emotional noise and guide you back to your values. In difficult conversations, pausing prevents escalation. You listen more carefully. You speak less. Your words become precise instead of defensive. This clarity often disarms the other person. Even if it does not, you remain steady. In moments of temptation, pausing reveals consequences. Impulse promises relief. Reflection reveals cost. The pause gives long-term thinking a chance to speak before short-term desire takes control. The world rewards speed, but wisdom values timing. Not every message requires immediate reply. Not every insult demands defense. Not every challenge needs confrontation. Choosing when to act is as important as choosing how to act. Pausing creates self-respect. You begin to trust yourself because you are no longer unpredictable. Your actions align with your principles. Regret lessens. Calm increases. You stop cleaning up messes created by impulsive decisions. When you master the pause, external chaos loses its influence. Events still happen. People still test you. But you are no longer dragged into every emotional storm. You stand still while it passes around you. This discipline does not make you passive. It makes you precise. When you finally act, your action is deliberate, measured, and rooted in clarity rather than emotion. Many people suffer not because life is difficult, but because they expected it to be easy. When comfort becomes the standard, any challenge feels like injustice. The mind begins to complain. Why me? Why now? This way of thinking turns ordinary hardship into unnecessary pain. Our expecting difficulty changes how the mind receives events. Life has never promised ease. Resistance is built into existence. Growth comes from pressure. Strength is shaped by challenge. When you expect obstacles, you stop being surprised by them. Difficulty no longer feels like an interruption. It feels like part of the path. The mind that expects comfort seeks escape. It avoids effort. It looks for shortcuts. When discomfort appears, it panics. The mind that expects difficulty remains steady. It understands that struggle is not a sign of failure, but a sign of engagement with life. Preparation begins with expectation. When you expect challenge, you train yourself mentally before it arrives. You conserve energy. You stay alert. You stop wasting strength on complaints and direct it toward endurance and problem solving. Hard moments test your discipline. Fatigue tests patience. Delay tests self-control. Loss tests perspective. Each test reveals the quality of your inner structure. Our expecting difficulty allows you to meet these tests without resentment. When hardship appears, most people ask how to avoid it. A disciplined mind asks how to endure it well. Avoidance weakens character. Endurance sharpens it. Every time you remain calm under pressure, you reinforce strength within yourself. Expecting difficulty does not mean expecting failure. It means accepting reality as it is. Plans will change. People will disappoint. Effort will not always be rewarded immediately. Accepting this protects the mind from bitterness. Comfort makes the mind fragile. When everything goes smoothly, patience weakens. Gratitude fades. Discipline relaxes. Then, when challenge finally arrives, the mind collapses under its weight. Difficulty, when expected, keeps the mind awake and capable. A person who expects difficulty stops feeling singled out by hardship. They stop asking why life is unfair. They understand that struggle is shared by all. This understanding builds humility and compassion rather than self-pity. Our challenges strip away illusions. They reveal habits, weaknesses, and hidden strengths. When you expect difficulty, you stop hiding from these revelations. You welcome them as information rather than threats. Resilience is built through repeated exposure to discomfort. Not extreme suffering, but daily resistance. Waking up tired, working without recognition. Remaining patient when tested. Each moment strengthens the ability to remain composed. Our expecting difficulty removes fear of the unknown. When you accept that hardship is normal, uncertainty becomes less frightening. You adapt more quickly. You recover faster. You stop clinging to how things should be and respond to how they are. A life built around comfort becomes narrow. A life prepared for difficulty becomes wide. You move through challenges without losing your sense of direction. You remain grounded when circumstances shift. This mindset transforms struggle into training. Each challenge becomes a lesson in endurance. Each setback becomes a reminder of strength still available. The mind no longer seeks ease. It seeks stability and growth through resistance. The need for approval quietly controls many lives. It shapes decisions, softens opinions, and bends behavior in ways that slowly erase self-respect. When your sense of worth depends on how others see you, peace becomes fragile. A single comment can disturb your mood. A lack of recognition can drain motivation. Our freedom begins the moment you loosen your grip on external approval. Other people's opinions are unstable. They change with mood, trend, and circumstance. Today you are praised. Tomorrow you are ignored. Building your identity on something so inconsistent creates constant tension. You begin performing instead of living. You start adjusting yourself to fit expectations that were never clearly defined. Seeking approval pulls attention outward. You monitor reactions. You replay conversations. You wonder how you were perceived. This mental noise steals focus from what truly matters, acting with integrity. When attention shifts back to your values, the need for approval weakens. Approval is attractive because it feels like safety. Being liked suggests acceptance. But safety built on others is borrowed, not owned. It can be withdrawn at any moment. Self-respect, built through alignment with your principles, cannot be taken away. When you stop chasing approval, decisions become simpler. You choose what is right, not what is popular. You speak honestly, not strategically. Silence becomes easier when words are unnecessary. This does not make you cold or distant. It makes you sincere. Criticism loses its sting when you no longer measure yourself through it. Feedback can still be useful, but it no longer defines you. Our praise feels lighter too. You appreciate it without needing it to feel whole. Living without seeking approval requires courage. There will be moments of misunderstanding. Some people will be uncomfortable when you stop adjusting yourself for their comfort. This discomfort is the cost of authenticity. Paying it strengthens the spine. Many people exhaust themselves trying to be seen as good, successful, or admirable. They hide flaws and exaggerate strengths. This constant self-management creates anxiety. When you accept yourself without display, the mind rests. Detachment from approval does not mean ignoring others. It means refusing to hand them authority over your inner state. You listen without surrendering judgment. You respect without submission. A person grounded in their values stands firm in uncertainty. Trends pass. Opinions shift. Values endure. When your actions are guided by them, confidence grows quietly and steadily. Approval seeking often leads to compromise. Small compromises repeated over time reshape character. Integrity fades slowly, almost unnoticed. By the time regret appears, the distance from your true self feels large. Refusing to seek approval protects against this erosion. When you act for approval, failure feels personal. When you act for principle, failure becomes feedback. The emotional weight decreases. You recover faster. Letting go of approval frees energy. The energy once spent on impression management becomes available for meaningful work. Creativity increases. Focus deepens. Effort becomes sincere rather than performative. Inner freedom expands when you no longer ask for permission to be yourself. You move through situations without fear of judgment controlling you. This steadiness earns genuine respect. Even if it does not earn constant praise, a life guided by values instead of approval becomes calmer and more direct. You may lose applause, but you gain clarity. And clarity creates a form of confidence that does not need to announce itself. Emotions are a natural part of being human, but they are not meant to be in control. When emotions lead, reason follows behind, struggling to catch up. Many regrets are born from moments when emotion was allowed to decide without guidance. Mastery does not mean shutting emotions down. It means understanding their place. Emotions rise quickly and demand attention. Anger wants release. Fear wants safety. Desire wants satisfaction. If obeyed immediately, they shape actions that feel right in the moment, but costly later. Learning to pause creates space to observe rather than obey. An emotion is information, not an order. It signals that something has happened or is happening. The mistake is treating the signal as a command. When you recognize emotion as data, you can choose how to respond. Anger often hides a sense of injustice or wounded pride. Fear often protects against imagined loss. Desire often promises fulfillment without revealing cost. Observing these patterns weakens their grip. What was once overwhelming becomes understandable. Mastery begins with awareness. You notice the emotion without labeling yourself as weak or strong. You do not judge it. You simply see it. This observation alone reduces intensity. Controlling emotion does not mean suppressing it. Suppression stores energy that eventually erupts. Mastery allows the emotion to exist without expression through harmful action. You feel anger without shouting. You feel fear without fleeing. You feel desire without surrender. The body reacts before the mind understands. Breath shortens. Muscles tighten. Heart rate increases. When you slow the body, the mind follows. Calm breathing restores balance and brings clarity back into reach. Emotional mastery strengthens relationships. When you stop reacting defensively, conversations change. You listen instead of interrupting. You respond instead of attacking. Conflict becomes manageable rather than destructive. In moments of pressure, emotions test discipline. Fatigue lowers patience. Stress amplifies irritation. Expecting this prepares you to guard your responses when energy is low. Mastery of emotion leads to self-trust. You know you will not sabotage yourself under stress. This confidence reduces anxiety. The mind relaxes when it knows it will not be betrayed by impulse. Society often encourages emotional expression without restraint. While expression can be healthy, unfiltered expression harms both self and others. Discipline refines expression so that it serves purpose rather than damage. Emotions pass if not fed. When you stop fueling them with stories and judgments, they lose strength. Time and awareness dissolve intensity. A disciplined person is not emotionless. They are composed. They experience the full range of human feeling without becoming captive to it. This balance creates stability. Mastery of emotion protects values. In moments of anger, values are tested. When emotion is mastered, values remain intact. You act in alignment even under pressure. Over time, emotional discipline becomes natural. What once required effort becomes habit. The mind grows quieter. The reactions soften. The person becomes steady without force. This steadiness is not weakness. It is controlled strength. The kind of strength that allows you to remain calm in chaos, clear in confusion, and firm without aggression. The mind spends much of its energy in places that no longer exist or have not yet arrived. Regret pulls attention backward. Worry drags it forward. Both remove you from the only moment where life can be shaped. Discipline begins when attention returns to the present. Yesterday cannot be edited. No amount of replay will change it. Learning may come from reflection, but suffering comes from attachment. When you cling to what is already done, you carry unnecessary weight. Letting go does not erase the past. It frees you from living inside it. Tomorrow is uncertain by nature. Plans can guide action, but worry weakens it. Imagining future outcomes creates anxiety without producing solutions. The mind prepares for threats that may never appear. Energy is spent without return. Today is where effort matters. Every meaningful action exists in the present. Character is shaped by what you choose now. Small, disciplined actions taken today build strength quietly and consistently. Focusing on today simplifies decisions. Instead of being overwhelmed by a lifetime of responsibility, You narrow your attention to the next right action. This reduces pressure and increases clarity. The present moment is often avoided because it demands responsibility. The past offers excuses. The future offers fantasies. Today offers action. Facing it requires honesty and effort. When attention stays in the present, distractions lose power. You become aware of habits that waste time and energy. Awareness creates choice. Our pain is easier to manage in the present. Suffering multiplies when the mind adds stories and predictions. By staying grounded in what is actually happening, emotional weight decreases. The body always lives in the present. Aligning the mind with the body restores balance. Breathing, movement, and awareness anchor attention. Our focusing on today does not mean ignoring the future. It means preparing for it through present action. Each disciplined choice strengthens tomorrow without worrying about it. Procrastination thrives in future thinking. When you focus on today, our tasks become manageable. You act instead of delay. Gratitude becomes natural in the present. Simple experiences regain value. This steadiness improves mood without chasing pleasure. Attention in the present sharpens perception. You notice details. You listen better. Relationships improve through presence. Stress often comes from carrying too much mental time. Limiting attention to today lightens the load. Living in the present builds resilience. When challenges appear, you respond rather than panic. You handle what is in front of you. This discipline grows with practice. At first, the mind wanders. Each return strengthens focus. A life lived one day at a time becomes stable and intentional. Progress is made without overwhelm. When today is handled well, the future takes care of itself through accumulated effort. Integrity is not built in public moments. It is shaped in quiet decisions when no one is watching and no reward is offered. Values mean little when they exist only as words. They gain strength when they guide behavior under pressure, temptation, and inconvenience. Living by your values requires clarity. You must know what you stand for before the moment tests you. Without clarity, emotion fills the gap. Pressure decides for you. When values are clear, decisions become simpler, even when they are not easy. Silence is often where values are revealed. When there is no audience, no praise, and no consequence, the true measure of character appears. Do you act the same way when recognition is removed? This consistency builds self-respect. Integrity demands sacrifice. Sometimes it costs approval. Sometimes it costs comfort. Sometimes it costs opportunity. These losses feel heavy in the moment, but they prevent deeper loss later. Compromising values may offer short-term gain, but it creates long-term conflict within. When actions align with values, the mind becomes calm. There is no need to justify yourself internally. No need to defend decisions in your own thoughts. This internal harmony is rare and valuable. Many people live with hidden tension because their actions contradict what they believe. This tension appears as anxiety, guilt, or restlessness. Aligning action with values dissolves this conflict. Living by values does not mean being rigid or harsh. It means being honest with yourself. It means choosing what you can respect when you look back. Even when mistakes happen, our values guide correction rather than denial. Pressure reveals priorities. In difficult moments, convenience competes with principle. Choosing principle strengthens identity. Each time you choose it, the next choice becomes easier. Integrity creates trust, both internally and externally. Others may not always agree with you, but they learn that your actions are predictable and grounded. This reliability earns respect over time. Living by values in silence removes the need for validation. You no longer require approval to feel confident. Confidence comes from knowing you did what was right according to your standards. Values act as an anchor in chaos. When circumstances shift and plans fail, values remain steady. They provide direction when external structure collapses. Temptation often disguises itself as opportunity. Without values, it is difficult to see the difference. Values provide a filter. They help you recognize what aligns with your long-term character rather than short-term desire. Integrity also involves admitting mistakes. Defensiveness weakens character. Accountability strengthens it. Owning errors aligns with honesty and responsibility. A person guided by values becomes difficult to manipulate. Flattery loses effect. Threats lose power. Our decisions are made internally rather than influenced externally. Living by values does not guarantee ease. It guarantees clarity. Even when outcomes are unfavorable, the mind remains steady. Over time, this alignment shapes identity. You become someone you can rely on. This self-trust is a form of strength that does not depend on circumstances. Quiet consistency builds a strong foundation. Without noise or display, character forms through repeated alignment between belief and action. A life lived this way feels solid, not because it avoids difficulty, but because it meets difficulty without abandoning itself.